everyone, and welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I am your host, Steve, and I'm joined today by the one and only
Antonio.
Ooh, I like that. And we're here to talk about Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, because we had a new trailer drop this morning, and we had some gameplay footage.
So, first of all, that trailer, we're not going to focus a ton on that because it was more for the sake of hype, which I feel like it did a decent job at. So take a look if you haven't already. But it doesn't tell us a whole lot more than we already knew. That is found in the gameplay, and I think that's where we want to kind of focus our attention today. And I think maybe do a little bit of comparison to the existing Hyrule Warriors gameplay and kind of analyze what it looks like they're going to do to make this a better game. I guess I'll start off by saying, so, obviously, we have the traditional Hyrule Warriors, 1 versus 1,000 style gameplay. But one of the things that I feel like I noticed right off the bat when I was watching the live stream, for the gameplay, is that it kind of seems like there's a lot more variety to your move set and abilities than there was in Hyrule, in the original Hyrule Warriors. I feel like in that game the focus was your abilities kind of varied based on the weapon you had equipped, and you couldn't change that in the middle of battle. You had this one weapon, and you had a move set that basically you kind of repeated ad nauseum throughout the entire battle. And that was still fun because I feel like the point of Warriors games is to be a bit of a power trip, tossing all these enemies like ragdolls with just your every swipe. So there's something to be said for the fun of that and doing it in a flashy way. But for the most part in the original game, it was, this weapon allows me to do these moves and that's about it. Oh, and occasionally I can throw a bomb if I want to do. Not that really does much, because, those items were kind of made to be more of a puzzle solving thing than an actual combat thing, because they were always inferior to just your usual sword swipes or whatever it was you were using. So the first thing that I picked up on that I was kind of really excited about is that it looks like they've really taken a lot of the gameplay elements from Breath of the Wild and implemented them into the Warriors style gameplay in ways that looks like it's really going to add a lot more variation to your combat potential. Now, it kind of looks like the Warriors staples are still there, but that will be kind of what dictates most of the combat in this game. But there were a number of cool details, from Link's moveset from Breath of the Wild that looks like it's going to add a lot of nuance. There's, of course, we already saw that flurry rushes are back. I thought that was pretty cool. He has the ability to use his bow, it seems like at any time. And it doesn't slow time down, so it shows how fast he really is in real time, which is crazy.
That's true. Yeah.
You can actually just jump into the air from at any point and basically do a slow down shot. What would you call that? The bullet time fire shots.
Yes.
I'm not very eloquent right now, but you know what I mean.
Something like that. Do you think they're going to bring back cooking or crafting in some way? Because Link starts to pick up some of those classic Breath of the Wild items like bokoblin horns and other items. You can see them picking up around here.
There's got to be some purpose for them. So I could see it coming back in some form. I wonder how important it's going to be to the gameplay, because I doubt they're going to make it so there's enough challenge, at least in the base mode, for you to need to use those things, but maybe they'll still add them in. I'm kind of hoping though that they have a good strong diversity of difficulty modes, so like if I really wanted a challenge, make those things like cooking and crafting more necessary, then I would really love that. But I guess we'll see. But no, I guess on that point, Warriors games aren't particularly known for the difficulty, at least from the little I've played them. The entire idea is that you're completely unmatched, basically, or at least for the most part. So again, it's all about, just destroying your enemies in flashy ways, and somehow that actually does work. Somehow it's pretty darn fun. but I do remember in Hyrule Warriors there was some higher difficulty modes that actually made it so you had to work a little harder, and I liked that. I always prefer a challenge when I can get it, so I hope they've got plenty of options there. Even if they don't, I'm honestly really excited to see how much more variety there is in the combat. Sometimes if you make a combat system exciting enough and heady enough, then sometimes that can carry the game in a lot of ways on its own. And it looks like they've kind of done away with your moveset is tied to your weapon and more tied it to your moveset is tied to Link's abilities, which is, I think, a better system. The idea that he's going to be able to do a lot of his abilities from Breath of the Wild. He can use his bow at any time. He has his runes. Like those look like they have a much more direct correlation to the combat in ways that are really exciting to me. And that's not something I guess I really expected. I kind of expected the relatively simplistic gameplay, at least when you're comparing it to Breath of the Wild. But instead, I feel like we're getting something more, and that's exciting to me.
It's very exciting that we're going to get something more. I think you're completely right. I just loved seeing all the Sheikah Slate abilities being used, and like you already said, the bow. The bow is super cool. It looks like you can use it whenever you want. I love the shield surfing. Impa's gameplay looked especially interesting because we've never seen her really in battle in Breath of the Wild ever. You see her as an old woman, and here you get to see her as a young woman, and her moveset just looks super flashy. It kind of reminds me of the Yika clan in a way, which is kind of cool.
I
don't know. I love her special attack. I just cannot wait to see more Impa in this game.
She looks super OP. From the gameplay I saw when she was like summoning 4 clones of herself, and they were all just destroying everything, I was like, she looks super OP, but that also looks awesome. And I guess in a Warriors game that works, and I'm excited to play her. She looks really cool. Originally, when I was kind of watching the first trailer that we saw that revealed Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, there were some people who pointed out, okay, it looks like that Link's using the runes and the others as well. Is that kind of changing the continuity of the story then? Are we kind of retconning the fact that he had to get those abilities 100 years later? What's going on there?
We saw him get the Sheikah Slate 100 years in the future, but we never really knew to what extent he knew of the Sheikah Slate 100 years ago, so I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, no, that's actually kind of what I'm getting at. So you're on the right track there. What I was thinking of was, I feel like what we learned in Breath of the Wild was that the Sheikah Slate used to have more abilities than it did, in Breath of the Wild. But I guess presumably due to being damaged during the conflict, of 100 years ago, that it lost those abilities. I mean, My thought is if those Sheikah Slate abilities were things that could only be unlocked by the shrines and those ancient monks that surely they didn't know anything about during the time frame of the Age of Calamity, then how could he possibly have them now? But I don't think that's actually true, because if you think about it, for example, when you visit Pura, I think that's her name, the little Sheikah girl that is aging backwards, and she improves your Sheikah Slate with her little.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yep.
My thought is, well, if that was something that was really tied to, ancient technology they didn't have access to it during this time, then why would she be able to, improve those things for you? I can't help but think that that wasn't the situation at all. I think these were things that they did have access to, and that was lost, in the context of the war. And, fortunately for Link, I guess, as part of the prophecy, that it's talked about, in Breath of the Wild, that those monks just happened to be there and have all the runes he needed to move forward. But that doesn't mean that they didn't have them before.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know. That's kind of a little bit of a kind of side note, but that was just something that I thought about. It's not really a continuity issue. They had to get it back. Anyway.
Well, Anthony, you have much to say other than that?
No, other than that, I'm just increasingly excited for this game. It really looks like. I loved Hyrule Warriors. I really enjoyed it, and I played the heck out of it for quite a while. Compared to a normal Zelda entry, it was a pretty simplistic game, and that didn't mean that it wasn't fun. It was perfect for what it was trying to be. But I guess what makes me so excited about this game, aside from the fact that it's telling a story we didn't know we were going to get to actually experience, and which I think I can speak for all of us in saying that we're all probably pretty excited to see that story.
Yes.
You know, so that's already something it has over Hyrule Warriors in a big way.
Oh yeah.
But then it kind of looks like they're taking the base Hyrule Warriors gameplay format and implementing the quality and the nuance of Breath of the Wild into it to make the Hyrule Warriors formula better than it was in the original. It just looks like they're bringing that Breath of the Wild attention to detail and quality into this game, and it just makes it look a whole lot better, honestly.
Yeah, it really does. Anyway, you heard it here first. We are excited for this game. Anthony, what's your excitement level at 10?
I would probably, I guess, put it at least a 9.
I would say a 9 as well. If anything, I'd maybe 8.5. But I'm about a 9 as well. But it just looks so good. You heard it here first. We're looking forward to it. And if you like this video, please give us a subscribe and a like, and give us a comment down below what you're most excited for to play in this Hyrule Warriors title here. If you're excited to play as the champions, if you're excited to play as Link or Impa or whatever, let us know down in the comments below. And until next time, guys,
keep it nerdy.